Hello again, friends. I'm reading from John's Gospel, chapter 15, verses 12 and 13. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that he lay down his life for his friends. One of the most precious gifts we human beings have as a part of our makeup is the gift of memory. With it, we can summon faces, voices, and events from the past to enter our present moments and bless us yet again. We're familiar with the tragedy that results when memory is lost through some form of dementia. We all agree that memories are important. They provide an essential link between the past and the present. This is, of course, Memorial Day weekend. For many, its significance is lost in the traditional start of summer holiday atmosphere. This year, of course, everything is topsy-turvy because of the coronavirus, but we are all still hopeful that sometime soon we can be outside in groups enjoying the warmer weather. But as much as we appreciate that Memorial Day starts the summer season, we must not forget that Memorial Day has a much more significant reason for being placed on our calendars. It is a day set aside to remember those persons precious to us who have died, but even more pointed, to remember those who gave their lives defending our freedoms in our nation's wars. Although traces of its observance can be found in ancient Greece and Rome, Memorial Day had its beginning in our country soon after the devastating losses of the Civil War. Since that time, and particularly since the First World War, we have set aside a day to remember our fallen heroes who, in all our wars and military actions, total almost 1.5 million dead, with that same number wounded. Perhaps this weekend is a good time not only to remember those who, in Lincoln's words, gave the last full measure of devotion, but also to remember who we are as Americans. One nation, under God, indivisible. Indivisible. That concept is being tested these days more than at any time since the Civil War. To our shame, the divisions that arise between and among us dishonor those who died to secure our freedoms. Now, I can almost hear someone say, yes, but one of our freedoms is to express our opinions and to hold and contend for our own viewpoints. Yes, this is certainly true. But somewhere along the way, we have lost a sense of respect for those who hold convictions differing from ours. Now, this circumstance has been generally acknowledged, but those who do often add to the division by saying something like, it's those Republicans, or it's those Democrats who are responsible, or this person or that person is causing the polarization. In searching for culprits, it's too easy to blame a particular person or even a group of people, even if they're in Congress. To be sure, generally speaking, what we see coming out of Congress incites further division by vilifying those on the other side of the aisle. like two grade schoolers quarreling at recess, it's easier to call people names and to seek to belittle them when we don't agree with them, rather than make the effort to understand them and reach consensus. So it seems clear in our current political climate that we cannot count on politicians to bring us together again. And that would also seem true of 24-hour news organizations that seem to have abandoned objectivity in reporting, and they appear instead to be positioning their reports to support a particular political viewpoint and to support or discredit a particular politician. I'm afraid the newsroom cannot lead our nation to where we need to be. It seems that we can't rely on the politicians or the news agencies to make America great again. I make no claim whatsoever to have all the answers, but I do have a suggestion. I speak now to the Christian community, although I invite others to consider the merits, if any, in what I'm about to propose. What if we made a commitment on this Memorial Day Sunday that we will honor those who fought and died to give us the kind of America that shows the rest of the world how good and noble a nation can be? What if we decided that political name-calling and finger-pointing and demonizing would not have a place within us or in our church communities? And what if we refuse to vote for politicians who continue to fracture America with their inability to see the big picture because they are focused primarily on getting reelected? I know this seems too simplistic to many of you, but we must begin somewhere to turn the tide. And increasingly, I believe the correction must begin in American pulpits and houses of worship. In Herman Melville's Moby Dick, a retired seaman has turned preacher, and his pulpit is shaped like the prow of a ship. Melville opines that, like the prow of a ship, the clergy should lead the way. I agree, though I must also confess that too often this has not been the case. Is it too simplistic to call for renewed respect for others? Is it too simplistic to hope that we will be willing to humble ourselves enough to acknowledge that an adversary might actually be right about something? Do we really believe that those who hold the same opinions we do are right about everything? Listening is often hard work. It is much easier to simply condemn the other side and attempt to ridicule them for the positions they hold. Is it too simplistic to believe that love for others can be reintroduced into our society before we become so polarized that, like Humpty Dumpty, we can't be put back together again? Of course, as Christians, we have our great leader and Lord, Jesus Christ, who is the epitome of greatness. His mission was to lift up the fallen, to bring sight to the blind and hearing to the deaf, to lead the lost home, and to give the hopeless abundant life. It cost him his life, of course, because his mission was not understood by the power brokers of his day. He gave his life so we might have real life here and hereafter. Jesus certainly understood the power of memory. After all, he was a part of the Jewish tradition that annually celebrated the Passover. It was at a Passover celebration in an upper room with his disciples that he took the bread and blessed it and broke it, saying, "This is my body, which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Likewise, he took the cup, and when he had blessed it, he told them, "This is my blood, which is poured out for you. Drink from it, all of you. Do this in remembrance of me." So on this Memorial Day, Sunday, it is appropriate to remember all those who gave their lives that we might live in peace and freedom. Their love was demonstrated in their sacrifice. It is appropriate that we commit ourselves or recommit ourselves as Christians to lead the way in respecting our adversaries' opinions and loving even our contrary neighbors. And it is appropriate on this Memorial Day Sunday that we remember Jesus Christ, who gave his life, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. God bless you.